Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm here with my last review of the season, and I cannot wait. Thank you all so much for being on this journey with me this year. I've been having a great time, and I really couldn't do this without you guys, and thank you so much. I mean, this has been a great year. I'm loving these reviews. Loved these collaborations, and I am just so excited. And I'm also in costume. I went as Spangler from Ghostbusters, obviously, with the Proton Pack. So, yeah. The costume's a little bit big, if you can tell, because when I thought it said big and tall, I thought it meant, it could be like, like a jumpsuit. No. It's actually for, like, people that are, like, 7 foot tall. I'm like, what are the odds of a 7 foot tall person buying a Ghostbuster costume at Walmart? I don't really think that's really that tall. I don't really think the odds of that's happening. Really. I mean, really, just like, should have read the fine print, Jacob. Should have read the fine print. Yep, that happens. Yep. Sucks for me. So. Alright, so. In honor of the Halloween being here, I'm here to review a movie that you cannot review, not only on Halloween, you have to review it on Halloween. Halloween Kills, everyone, is directed by David Gordon Green and is written by Scott Timms, Danny McBride, and David Gordon Green once again. And this time around, this is the third installment of the rebooted Halloween timeline, where it starts out with the original 78 or 79 film. And then it starts off with Halloween 2018, then Halloween Kills, and then I think the fall in 2023 is Halloween Ends. So we have those movies to look forward to. We have that to look forward to, the final chapter. And so we have this now. And the movie, of course, once again stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Mashaka, Will Patton, Thomas Mann, Anthony Michael Hall, and James Jude Courtney once again as the Shape. The movie is a continuation of Halloween 2018, where it picks up right where the first movie left off, and even has a flashback of Michael Myers being captured in the original film, that they used old footage. They used a camera, old equipment to recapture that scene, and that's why it looks like, a lot of people were wondering, like, how is, because most movies you could tell it looks like that, and they said they used old film equipment to make it look like, okay, this is a 70s movie, rather than just trying to recreate the scenes and like, okay, it's just a bunch of guys pretending to be it's the 70s. And it looks really good. Like, some people are wondering, was this deleted footage? And they actually did use deleted footage from Halloween 2, the original movie. They said 3 shots of the movie that are from Halloween 2. That, that people, like the one scene I know of that they actually acknowledged was the scene with, not Lori, but her friend Annie Brackett, when they're pulling her out in the stretcher and her body. That actually scene is from Halloween 2. They said that was originally, in which Universal had the theatrical distribute rights for Halloween 2 and the original Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which, by the way, it gets a lot of hate, that movie, but really it's not a bad movie. It's actually a pretty fun movie. If you ignore the fact that that's a Halloween movie and just call it, like I call it, Hallows Eve Season of the Witch. Because, I mean, I understand it's really hard to call it Halloween because you're like Michael Myers. Every time we hear the term Halloween, we think of Michael Myers. So it's really hard to, like, because you always get mad because you're like, this isn't a Michael Myers movie, and which I understand. And look, I'm one of those people too that's like, come on, But I really enjoyed the movie. I mean, if you take that Halloween title out of it and just call it Season of the Witch, it's really a good movie. I mean, it's really an enjoyable movie. Like, I think if more people would ignore the fact that that's a Halloween movie, it would get more recognition. Because, I mean, if you would have just said John Carpenter's Season of the Witch, it would probably be much better. In a sense, like, this movie would get a lot more attention. I mean, I still think one day I wouldn't mind a remake of that movie because, I've noticed I wouldn't call it Halloween. Though I'd probably call it Halloween Presents the Season of the Witch, or, Hallows Eve Season of the Witch, or John Carpenter Presents Season of the Witch, But I just think that movie gets not a lot of recognition that it should, and it's actually a decent movie, compared to other Halloween movies that actually do have Michael Myers, like Halloween Resurrections. It's just ridiculous, And so, but this movie continues where that 2018 left off, and the movie essentially deals with, like, Tommy Doyle, who is now grown up and is like in his mid-40s, is trying, basically, like, has a drink with the survivors of the original film, And basically, they basically get a mob together when they find out Michael Myers has escaped and he's out killing again. And so he leads a lynch mob to go out there and murder and kill like Michael Myers. And in fact, they get like so crazy to where like they actually end up killing the wrong person by accident. You're just like the movie is like, I really heard mixed reviews for this movie. I heard a lot of people say it's not that good, it's not that good, it's not that good. So much so to where I went in the movie, I was expecting it to be bad. And I was just like, oh my god, it's gonna be bad. Oh my god, it's gonna be bad. Oh my god. And I sat down and I had a Halloween t-shirt on. I was smiling. But then I was thinking, this is gonna suck. But I was like, you know what? Who cares? Okay, I'm watching a Halloween movie in a movie theater, and I actually get to watch it. Who cares? As long as the kills are good, that's all that matters. I don't care if the story sucks. I sat there and watched it, and I was intrigued by the story even. I was like, wow, this is actually much better than I thought it was going to be. I was really into it, and I was sitting there smiling the whole time going, all right, this is where we're going. I'm with this. You know, and I was watching the movie and the whole time, and I'm just sitting there going, this is so cool. The kid's really brutal. Like, he kills that fire department in, like, the first, 10 minutes of that movie. And I'm just like, this is awesome. Like, there's one scene that I love is where the camera shot is with the fire department, whereas through his mask, and Michael Myers just takes that and he goes like that. I'm like, oh crap! I was like, oh yes. And then one of them even pulls a blade like a saw, like a sawzall or something. I don't know. And he takes that and he turns around and goes. I'm like, damn. Michael Myers is brutal. I mean, this movie has a lot of kills. Like, there is some that I still think about the fluorescent light bulb where he just breaks it on and sticks in that woman's throat. I still think about that kill. I'm thinking, that was just mean. You know, that lady was already pretty much dead. She was already dead on her knees, and you just killed her. And then he just goes, yeah, and then he drags her around and then kills her husband afterwards. And I felt so bad for her, and I was like, man. And I did not know this, but I found this out later that there are people from the 2018 movie that were either in deleted scenes or stuff that were in that movie that are actually like, the lady that was killed with the light bulb, she was actually in the 2018 movie as the graveyard, like the core, not the coroner, but not the mortician, but she basically was the grave plotter or whatever, where she showed him where the grave was for Judith Myers. Yeah, well, apparently, you know, I mean, in which that was intentional. So they intended to bring everyone that was in 2018 back, which I'm excited to see who they bring back for Halloween Kills, even though they kill most of the people in that movie. They even brought back, and I kind of felt bad that he didn't get a lot of starting to sound cottonmouth. But yeah, they brought this guy back, and I felt so bad because he's one of my favorite characters in Halloween and the original Halloween 2, which I know that's no longer canon. Which, if you change the fact that that's not Michael Myers' sister anymore, if they would have took that element out of the movie and just re-released it with that, then it would still be a decent movie. Like, I think it could still be part of the canon timeline, and which it would probably explain more stuff. It would probably make more sense in a way, but I mean, that's just me. I mean, some people I know don't like that. I mean, it was John Carpenter originally did not like that movie, even though he reshot the movie himself, because the original director did made it more metaphoric deaths than it did, you know. And so, which I will say, this movie I really enjoyed. You know, I liked Halloween 2018. I thought it was okay, but I mean, I didn't love it. Like, to me, I feel like the original was still better than 2018. I just felt, and I did not like the twist with the Dr. Sartan in 2018. I thought that was kind of lazy. And this movie actually open a new perspective of Michael Myers for me. This movie actually made me feel like, okay, because when Judy Greer's character, Karen, says, hey, Michael Myers is on his way here. We need to get you safe because Michael Myers is on his way here. And I'm like, he's on his way here. You gotta hurry up. You need to get the police force, everything, National Guard, whatever you like. Like, when they see all the dead fire people, I would be like, look, if I was the sheriff, I would tell the sheriff with the cowboy hat, I'd be like, we're calling the National Guard. We're gonna hunt this dude down, because I was like, which then again, like, he just killed the entire fire department, so I don't know really what we could do because he's pure evil. But it opened a new perspective to me. Like, it made more sense to me. It was like, Michael Myers doesn't want to kill. Like, Michael Myers is a victim in this movie. Like, you see this in the movie. Michael Myers just wants to go home. Michael Myers is basically, he wants to go home, and he wants to basically be at peace in that bedroom, you know, in that Judas room, just looking over. Like, he basically, like, when he's in the asylum, he was just looking to his home, like, in his head. You know, like they always say, Michael Myers, when he puts on the mask, that's not Michael Myers. That's more or less, that's the shape. So it kind of brought a new perspective to me. Like, okay, when he puts on the mask, he's not Michael Myers. He's the Shape. You know, like the Shape. Like it's almost like Michael Myers is a victim to like the Shape. Like when they're beating up Michael Myers, like, you know, the Shape's not taking the beating. Michael Myers is taking the beating from the mob. But then when he puts that mask back on, you know, and everything, when he gets back up and starts killing her, that's the Shape is like, you know what? Because the Shape nothing can stop the Shape. And I feel bad because when she looks at that window and sees the little boy Michael Myers, it almost kind of felt like, okay, well, this is basically his soul in that window. Like, this is Michael Myers. Like, he just wants to, he's that little boy, and the Shape is kind of running things. Like, Michael Myers is the victim here. The Shape is the monster. It's like Michael Myers just wants to be home and be at peace. Like, there's a scene where it's just, it almost is like Michael Myers, after he kills this couple, Big John and Little John, which, by the way, I actually thought Big John and Little John was pretty funny. I was like, I was thinking, these two dudes, one of them was on Mad TV, the other one was on the Mick, and they're both like, and it has like this dance scene where he's dancing to the song, and then he tells like these kids that try to steal his candy because they these little kids that are assholes that you want them to die, and one of them does die by Michael Myers off screen, and one of them, and they're basically, they steal the candy. They had razor blades in their throat and they fake it, and then of course one kid goes in their house and steals all the candy. He goes, trick or treat, and he goes, do you know whose house this is? He said, this is Michael Myers' house. He stabbed his sister up there, stabbed her in the tits. And I'm just like, I've never heard it from that perspective. It just made me laugh. I was laughing so hard at that scene. And I'm just like, I mean, the jokes aren't as much as they were in the last film, but there's some jokes in here that are actually pretty funny. And like, there's even one kill that I just thought, I was like, what? Like, there's a kill, okay, and I'm so spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, but there's a kill where like this woman takes a pistol and she's like firing. This woman that dressed like a nurse is going bam, bam, just shooting Michael Myers. They kicks that door and shoots herself in the face. She shoots herself in the face. I'm like, wow. Like Michael Myers, everything's just falling into place for him, you know? I mean, if I was him, I'd just be skipping home going, you know, like, that worked out well. You know, one got away, but I got a whole bunch of other people. Like, he basically won this movie. He won. He's like, yeah, I got fired. I got fired at the end of the last movie, but I got out thanks to the fire department. I got I got a good kill streak in. Yeah, I even got to kill the town sheriff from the original film, and I got to kill Tommy Doyle. Which, by the way, the movie does have a good message. Like, a lot of people ignore the message, but like, it's kind of like we're attacking people before we know the facts. Like, that's kind of the thing. Is like, in society, this happens a lot, and it's happening today, where it's like before we know everything, we're just attacking people because of one thing. Like, you know, like there's this guy that people think is Michael Myers when he's not, and they're basically wanting to murder him and attack him. To where it's like, this guy's not Michael Myers. Just because he walks in there, they're like, Michael Myers is here, and it's like, this guy isn't Michael Myers. And then this guy leads a mob to kill this guy, and this guy ends up taking his own life just because, you know, like, you know, he doesn't want to be killed by a mob, which, you know, it kind of makes us messed up, because I was like, we are like this in society. Like, we play Burn the Witch more than anything, you know, like, we have become like this in society, you know, like, you know, there's something right now that there's a comedian that's facing all this stuff right now because he told a few jokes and he's getting, like, people are wanting his head for it, and I'm just thinking, you know, we don't, and half the people, and the sad thing is, there's a lot of people that are saying it haven't even seen the special, you know, and it's just like, it kind of reminded me of that when I was watching this movie, going, you know, if we would just look at the facts before we just start attacking people, then we would be better off, and that kind of, it made me see this movie in a new light, where I was thinking, man, this movie has a message, kind of, you know, and I was thinking, I never walked out of a Halloween movie with a message before. I was thinking, I mean, but I've heard I did hear one or two people say, like, yeah, there is a political kind of message hidden in there, you know, and there even is, like, you know, like, which this movie does have, like, you know, you kind of feel like you do side with Michael Myers, and I like that, you know, you kind of side, like, you know, you kind of see him as a victim, you know, when that scene at the end, and you see him get beat up at the end, you're just thinking, like, I thought it was going to be stupid, but it kind of worked, and I was thinking, well, that worked, and which, the movie itself is kind of shorter than the last movie, but I really enjoy it. Their cast, I will say, they brought the sheriff back from the original movie. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but, like, they brought him back from the original 70s movie, and, like, he wasn't in 2018, which I was kind of wondering, why wasn't he in 2018? But they brought him back for this movie, and he's a security guard now. I guess he stepped down after he was killed, which they kind of do reference Halloween 2, the original, even though it's not canon anymore, in a way, because he tells the new sheriff of the town, he tells the county sheriff, he's not the sheriff of the town, but he's the county sheriff, and he's like telling him, like, he says, I went home after, he goes, I wasn't there when Michael Myers was captured by Loomis. He goes, I went home after my wife, I found out my daughter was dead, and I told my wife my daughter was dead. And I'm like, that's exactly what happened in 2018. And I thought that was so well done. I mean, in which David Gordon Green and Danny McBride both said in interviews before they even made the 2018 film, we love Halloween 2, but there are some stuff that we wish we could fix in, 2018 kind of fixes, because we didn't like it. One of them, the biggest thing, was that Michael Myers is his sister, and it kind of made no sense to them, because it kind of ruined the twist. Like, okay, so he just goes after family. Like, if I'm not related to Mike, I won't have to worry about Michael Myers as long as I'm not related to him, or I don't know anyone of his family. I'm good, Rather than like, this dude just comes home. If you live in Haddonfield, he's gonna kill you, And this is kind of like, and it kind of shows in this movie. And what I really like about this movie is, it has a really good message. And I really thought, I kind of wish some people that did die in the movie would have stuck around. Like, there were a few characters I was like, I wish they would have brought him back for the next film, or I wish this character would have been brought back. I would have liked to see where this goes. And so, I mean, I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie, and I really did like the John Carpenter's amazing soundtrack. I have listened to this theme, Unkillable, so many times. And I was kind of bummed when I saw the fire scene, because they played that in like a trailer. They looped it into a trailer, and where you see the fire department. So I was waiting for I can't wait for this scene, Unkillable, where he kills all the fire department. But then, no, that doesn't happen in that scene. That's a different score, and it was just used for marketing. They actually use it in the final act inside, where he's in the Myers house, when Allison and her boyfriend are in the Myers house, and they're there to kill Michael Myers. Which, by the way, you shouldn't bring teenagers to go kill Michael Myers. I'm just saying that, because that doesn't go well for either of them, especially with the boyfriend. It doesn't go well for him at all. And so I was just thinking that, though, and I was just like, and it kind of really, and I really enjoyed the movie. I kind of do. I know there is some issues, and I will say I did like overall the movie. Like, the hospital thing did not bother me, because in Halloween, the original Halloween 2, I was kind of hated that, the whole movie takes place in a freaking hospital. Well, in this one, I didn't really mind the hospital that much. I was like, well, the hospital is actually interesting. At least there's more stuff happening than Michael Myers just lurking through the hallways, killing people off screen. I actually like this hospital more, because I'm like, they're at least chasing after someone trying to kill them. I'm like, this is more interesting. And I also kind of like that it doesn't just, it takes you out of the hospital some, so we're not just stuck in a hospital setting the whole time. I do hate that with the same Halloween 2, that Jamie Lee Curtis is sidelined for this movie, and I think they did that was because they're setting up for the final confrontation, because I know at the end they said the third film is the final chapter for Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. I don't know if, obviously not Michael Myers, because, I mean, they're going to make more. They even said, if Halloween Ends does well, we're going to make another one probably, but I think David Gordon Green and Jamie Lee Curtis are kind of done after this. So I think, which, I mean, I'd be shocked if they did come back, but I think this is kind of this is the final chapter, which, I mean, it's fine, but as long as they do it in a creative way. And I really enjoy this movie. If I had to give it a grade, I would probably give it a solid B+.
Do it! Do it! You want your mask? Come and get it! I'm coming for you, Michael.